Welcome to the clinical cookout. You know you need it, it's kinda scary, but mental health is necessary. Four educated queens taking the lead, hold their hands and they'll help you succeed. Lay your head back, relax, just like that. Now listen to, learn, and your problems will burn away. Cookout, you know, we got just what you need. At the cookout, your heart and mind we will be. At the cookout.
This podcast is for educational purposes only. We are qualified clinicians who will cover various topics on mental health and will sometimes provide community resources. We are not being paid by any organization for our content, and any information we provide is general and pertains to our own personal experiences. We do not provide psychotherapy, diagnoses, or treatment recommendations on air. Any concerns related to your individual mental health should be directed to your medical and mental health professionals. We are not responsible for others' decisions or the subsequent consequences.
Hey y'all, so today for our hot sauce, we want to talk about manipulation, specifically in relationships. Can you be manipulated? Can anyone be manipulated, or is this reserved to a certain type of person, a certain personality, a certain gender? What does that look like? Is anyone capable of being manipulated?
I think anybody's capable of being manipulated. I would think that at a certain age, manipulation would be harder to do as you get older. That is what I think. But I know a lot of people disagree with that. A lot of people will say, no, a person can lie to you for years and literally be living a whole different life. And that person you just never know. And I don't know. I mean, I personally have never been through that, but I know, not that I know, but I have seen a few people who have gone through those things. And for a second, I was like, how could that even happen? But you know what? It's with social media these days, people be creating different lives. They will say things. And if you don't do a background check or don't look into it, it's like you don't necessarily know and can be manipulated to think that this person is somebody that they not. So
I think we get
yes and
manipulated
no.
based on our needs.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I
That
think that's what it is. If you need emotional support from somebody and somebody senses that, people who are manipulators can sense when the weak or the people who they perceive as weak are in need. So if you're used to manipulating people and you see that chink in that person's armor, it's easy to take advantage of that. So if you've always been abused by your father, this is why abusers are so good at what they do, because they look, they watch, they observe, and then they spot that weakness and then they exploit it. I think you just have to watch what you're putting off sometimes, or there's always a why. Let's get to how we got there, how we got to what we're putting off, and how to fix it before that person exploits that. They always say that the person who is the constant giver is always being taken from. Why?
I agree with Auntie Shug on this one a lot, because I do think it's a need or some type of void that people who are more susceptible to being manipulated, that's why that happens more so in that case. But also, I don't think there's an age limit on manipulation. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how intelligent you are. Anybody can be manipulated, because it's not you as the victim of manipulation that's the problem. And I think that viewing it that way is why people can't see it. The all fault falls on the manipulator, and you have some master manipulators. You have some manipulators who purposely will go for somebody that you wouldn't believe could be manipulated just to prove that they can. So they might not always go for that person that you do see that weakness in. They might go for that person that don't nobody think they can be manipulated, so I'm gonna get them. And it more so has to do, if anything, with the need in that person, because you could be smart. You could be a seemingly strong person. You could be grown, fully grown, 30, 40 plus, and you can still be manipulated, because it's not on you. It's on the person doing the manipulating.
I agree with y'all. I also think that you have people that trust people too much, and that places you at risk of being manipulated a little bit easier. And then once you are manipulated, then you don't trust anybody. So it makes it a little more difficult. But I think, to answer the question, anybody can be manipulated.
no matter how trusting you are, how not trusting you are, um, it just, yeah, it just happens.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My question is, why do we always talk about people being manipulated instead of people just allowing stuff too? I think we blame a lot of stuff on the other person. That's like, oh, this person did this to me, this person did that to me. And I think it creates a victim mentality instead of being like, that person was who they've always been. And then you went and fell for it. I'll give you an example based on me. I knew that this person that I was with before, I knew what you were. I knew who you were and I knew how you were. And I still was like, I'm different. It's gonna make me different. And then there wasn't a strong level of manipulation. I just was open because I wanted to be open, and they took advantage because that's what they do.
I think that's different because you knew, like you said, you knew. Everybody does not necessarily always know. Everybody doesn't show themselves. Some people don't show themselves for a while. You have situations where people can literally show you someone totally different. When you know, yes, when you that person that knows that this person is the way that they are, and you like, but I can change them. They'll be different for me. Then yeah, you damn sure got to take some accountability because no, what makes anyone think that they're special enough to change someone? You're not. But everybody don't always know. So for the people who truly were just bamboozled, like, nah, this person presented totally different. Everybody thought they were this way and they really were not. That's different. And I, in my mind, it's like when you say victim mentality, some people are truly victims. If you're truly a victim, I find it hard to put fault or put accountability on the victim's plate at all when they didn't know, if they really didn't know.
I think sometimes we leave out the fact that manipulators are skillful. You have to have a certain set of skills to do this. And is manipulation a bad thing all the time? I don't know. I personally, for me, depending on the relationship, maybe manipulation is a good thing for me as far as like me doing the manipulating in order to get myself out of something or if safety is at risk. I don't know. Sometimes I think Chuck may hit the nail on the head when it comes to whatever need that you want, something that you need or a need that you're trying to meet. Um, I don't necessarily think that I don't necessarily think that manipulation is something that can be caught all the time because it's such a skill, especially if somebody is good at doing it. Because you gotta do some things in order to manipulate. You gotta be like literally, especially if you've done this more than once. Like you got to have some top level skills to be doing that. And unfortunately, there are people out there who just miss over that because people, like Amber said, has been very trusting and open. And if you don't walk into it with that level of awareness, I think you can skip over that. I think you can, you know, miss it.
Yeah. So we talked about manipulation, and manipulation also speaks to one of the factors that causes the death of relationships, the killing of relationships. But there's a lot of things that contribute to how relationships are at this time. So we're going to get into this main dish talking about what is killing our relationships.
The cookout, you know, we got just what you need. At the cookout, your heart and mind we will be. At the cookout, your peace.
All right, y'all, let's get into this main dish. Now, you have 4 different dynamic aunties, so you're going to probably have 4 different dynamic opinions, but let's get into what is killing relationships. We talked about manipulation. We know that manipulation might be a factor, but there's a whole lot of other things up in there. So let's get into it. I'm going to say what's killing relationships first is people killing their own damn relationships. Non-accountability and non-communication. People don't take accountability for their own actions. So I had to learn this through marriage counseling and through just going through a PsyD program, that in every situation, you have a strong level of responsibility in it. So in every negative interaction, in every situation in your marriage, in every situation with your kids, we talked about all of this, you have some you play a strong part in it. I think that we don't look at ourselves and say, what did I do to get this person there? What did I say to get this person there? Do I know how to push this person's buttons? Do I know how to react? Am I reacting right? Can I react different? We never look at us. It's always, if you would change yourself, things would be better. If you change this, that, and the third, then things will be better. But we never ever look at ourselves. That's what's killing relationships for me.
I agree. I agree that that's one of the most important things. You got to look inward, and it is the people themselves killing the relationships. But I think that one of the biggest factors there is lack of proper preparation and education, which leads to people listening to foolish external sources, meaning you didn't learn it. Nobody taught you. Nobody taught you proper communication, proper conflicts management, how to be in a relationship, what to look for. Nobody taught you this. And so now everything that's getting poured into you is from horrible sources. You following podcasts, you reading certain blogs or certain books that may not be good, and you're getting all of this influx of information, and then people don't know what the hell they talking about. So now you are ruining your relationship because of what you're thinking is correct information.
We don't always like to listen to people who
Well,
came
that's
before us either. I'm sorry. We don't always like to listen to people who came before us. A lot of times we think they don't know what they're talking about when nothing new is up under the sun. So then we look to external sources, and that, like, you'd be like, well, my grandmother said this. Well, they didn't know because this person did this and this person did that. So we don't listen to nobody really, and until it's in a form of a podcast, which is stupid. My bad, Amber. Go ahead.
forgot what I was gonna say. Continue.
Uh,
I would say
Oh wait, I know what I was gonna say.
I was gonna say I got something real quick for that. I
No,
don't know
I
about
was gonna
listening to
say
elders all the time.
also we talking about external sources. It be your friends. Like you have got to get we if you don't have a good group of friends, you at least need to know which friends are the ones that you go to for stuff like that. Because I know I have about 3 or 4 friends that I can actually go to when it comes to relationship stuff. They're gonna be the ones to tell me what's real and help me self reflect. What did you do in the situation? What did they do? And how do y'all work that out? But I got a couple other friends that's gonna be like, I'm with you. What's up? What we doing? Where we riding out to? Like what you
We
know what
ride
I
at
mean?
dawn.
You ain't wrong, you ain't do nothing. That's all on that nigga. He ain't shit. I got friends like that too. So it do be your friends sometimes. And because they're your friends, you gonna listen to them and believe what they say. Nah, you gotta get the ones that's gonna tell you when you wrong as well.
I think
Mhm.
I think some of the stuff that's also killing relationships, it may be unpopular opinion from the audience, but I also think that people aren't moving with the times. Dynamics are changing. And when I was looking at a article a while ago about the loneliness of men and how they've been lonely, and women are doing like getting their money up. Women are buying their own homes. Women are just doing a lot of things on their own, and men are not moving with those times. And I've seen a lot of women, and this is just from the internet. I've seen a lot of women talk about, well, why don't y'all just be better people? Like, we're not asking you to make more money. We're not asking, I mean, yes, that's great, but we're not asking for that. We're asking for you to be better people. Like, literally go to therapy, literally get your emotions in check, literally be kind partners. That's what we're asking you to do. And men are like, nope, not doing it. We want to be the providers and protectors, and that's it. We don't care if we're bad human beings. Oh, well. And so you have, I believe, this like push and pull between men and women. And I think that nobody is trying to talk and be on the same page. So I think that's part of the reason why also that's killing relationships. You got gender wars. You got who's trying to outdo who's trying to, one up somebody. Like I just feel like that's part of the problem.
Mhm.
Because I tell you, if I see one more motherfucking cheesecake date, if I see one more he gotta pay this or she gotta cook, shut up. Shut up. Shut up.
That's what I mean
I
when I
hate
say
it.
those external sources that are leading to, because in my real life, I don't see too many people having gender wars. All of my married friends, all of my, like, I don't see that in reality. I see that on social media. And a lot of people listen to social media now instead of listening to actual professionals and people who work in this field. So because of that influence, we can't sit here and pretend like social media and celebrities and all of these people don't have a lot of influence. So if you are, especially a teenager just starting dating, just starting to understand anything about relationships, can you imagine how much influence they have, and then they become adults who don't know how to be in a relationship. And now all their relationships trash because they didn't learn properly from jump. And honestly, it can't always be listening to our elders either, because they had some trash ass situations too.
Everybody has
They
a
wasn't living their life like it was golden.
everybody
Huh?
has a trash situation. You're never gonna find a person and say they got a great situation, I should listen to them, because in life, life be lifing. So imagine your teenager, right? Imagine you telling your teenager, "Look, I've been a teenager, I've dated, I've married, I've divorced, I've did all these things," and then the teenager is starting to date, and they say, "But you don't know what you're talking about." You're gonna be like, "What?" And so then they go to their friends who are just as egotistical, with low self-esteem and no know-how as them. That's how we're being looked at. So now when I think about elders, yeah, everybody has a trash situation. The granddaddy had kids, my granddaddy had kids around the corner. Everybody has a situation that's not going to be ideal because nobody's living a perfect relationship. But they can tell you some stuff that they've seen and that they've done. And if you're smart enough to listen and take in some stuff, you can redirect yourself, because you don't have to take in every single thing. You take the meat and you spit out the bones in everything somebody give you.
Let me reframe trash situation, because you're right. Let me say trash mindset. We won't pretend like some folks don't have a trash mindset. And a trash mindset is very different from a situation. That's a mindset. You have things from, and I'm not saying everything our elders teach us is wrong or incorrect. We need to listen to people with more experience. But also you have mindsets like one I heard growing up. If that man is taking care of you and he good to you, you might have to just deal with some other things. You got to weigh it out. You got to figure out what you're going to deal with. But by deal with, they meant deal with that Negro having a second family across town. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I'm not doing that. But that's a legit mindset of some people. So when I say some of our elders had mindsets that are not conducive to healthy relationships, they are not conducive to healthy relationships.
Every relationship has a problem, right? So if you listen to you can't judge somebody else's situation and say that situation is trash and your mindset is trash because of it. Because there's all different reasons why people put up with different things. It's you could have kids across town, whatever, whatever. When my grandmother died, my grandfather died right after, because they were soulmates and they still made it work. So even through that situation, they still had a relationship that they made work. You got to go through it with somebody. It's about your level of tolerance. And I think we look in at social media and it's like, oh, if he did this, I'm not tolerating that. He did that, I'm not tolerating that. And a lot of times you have your stupid friends tell you, don't tolerate this, don't tolerate that, don't tolerate that. They lonely. They want somebody. They probably want what you have, or they're in a worse situation telling you what they wouldn't tolerate. That's what I be talking about when I be saying listen to people who don't know nothing. Everybody's level of tolerance is different.
I was
I
actually
think
watching. Go ahead, Amber. Yeah.
no, I was just gonna say I think the idea of what's considered a trash mindset is also perception. It could be what Ashley thinks is a trash mindset would be different than what Auntie Keish thinks is that. I think that in terms of relationships, we from the outside look into something and say like, no, I would never do that. I would never deal with that. Right? Just like your grandma, my grandma told me the same thing. Like there's gonna be some things that's positive about this person that you love. There's gonna be some things you're gonna have to learn to deal with, and I think that goes for any relationship, friendships too. There are gonna be things you have to deal with, but you have to deal with them first in order to say how you're gonna react to it. Cause I'm gonna be fully transparent. I'm going through a situation in my marriage right now that I would have never thought I would go through. And on the outside, I would look at that shit and be like, hell no. Like, I'm out if any of this shit ever happened. But once you get in that shit, it's completely different. So I just think that before you say, like, I'm not never dealing with this or I'm not going to do that, like, you have to wait until you deal with that situation yourself before you see how you're going to respond to it.
I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna respond crazy in a
All right.
moment. Y'all gonna have to come get me out of jail. And then I'm gonna deal with it rationally. Auntie Amber ain't coming to get me. Keish gonna come get me. Ashley gonna counsel me later.
I'm gonna
That's
come
what's
get you.
gonna happen. Okay, so we all be going through some stuff,
We
especially when
do.
you are married. When you are married, you go
Yeah.
through a lot of shit.
That's
When
true.
I watched the
Oh,
TikTok,
Em,
when I watched the TikTok yesterday, a lady asked, I don't even know what it was, the basis of the question, but they were talking about the question was, what do you mean by marriage is hard? So a lady stitched it and talked about, she said, there's a lot that you don't understand that goes a part of a marriage. She was like, essentially, y'all are kind of parenting or kind of married to that inner child as well. And there are going to be things that's going to come up from your past that you and your partner gonna have to deal with. And she was like, it literally takes work. It's literally work. Like, and she was like, there are things that's gonna come up in y'all marriages that aren't gonna be as flowers and rainbows. And y'all gotta learn how to work through that. And I knew right then and there that marriage was never gonna be on my goddamn list because I was like, I refuse to work on it.
How did we get there, bro? Like,
I can see how she got there.
That's what's wrong with marriages to me. Because you got
I can
people
see
like
how she
me
got
who like, fuck that. Like, I'm not doing none of that shit. I'm too egotistical. I can't do it, y'all. I said,
I love the self-awareness, Keish. I love the
I
self-awareness. I know
can't.
how you got there. I appreciate it. That's the thing. Relationships and marriage are not for everyone. Please know that about yourself. Be like Auntie
I'm
Keish.
okay
Figure
with
that
that.
out about yourself.
I cannot.
Don't try to go with don't try to go with societal rules and what you're supposed to be
Yeah,
doing. If you know you
I
can't,
can't.
then don't destroy stuff and don't destroy people. Stay out of that.
I will have me a
But
companion for about 20 years, but
like
I don't
Oprah.
know about that marriage.
I think that's
she
Oprah.
gonna have her companion. She got a friend. She
You
got
have
her
a
I said
friend.
friend.
I need a stand man because ain't no way. Ain't no way. Because she started talking like that, and I said, I already work a job. I can't do another job. I cannot do it. Like, I'm just not.
But
And I've been thinking about it really hard because I'm about to be 40, like in a couple years, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'll turn in my hot girl card and settle down. Maybe I don't know, but child, she said that yesterday. I said, you know what? This
I ain't got
I ain't got it.
but
But
So
watch
she
this.
she is she is right though. Like people get in relationships and they don't understand themselves. They don't like know how to even receive love because think about a lot of the things that we saw growing up. You know, like we our examples of relationships weren't perfect. Like Auntie Shug said, like none of them are gonna be perfect. They're all different situations. Like your grandma gonna tell you something she dealt with, and you like, what? Your mama gonna tell you, your auntie, and then you like, what the hell is going on here? And that's because we have to understand that relationships are not going to be perfect. But when you go into a relationship and you haven't addressed your own shit, it's going to come up at some point. And that's what makes it hard because both of you, both me and my husband, are dealing with our own shit. And we got to figure out how to work on that separately in order to heal together. And that's the problem because people don't want to put in that work. They'll be like, you know what?
yep.
First sign of trouble, this shit ain't what I
I'm
thought it
out.
was going to be. I'm out. And then want to be the first one to be like, people ain't shit, man ain't shit. Da da da. You ain't even try. Like you really didn't even try.
But
So
what about
Yep.
saying I ain't shit either sometimes? Sometimes you bring
exactly.
your
Yep.
trash ass to the relationship and
and
somebody else got to deal with you. And that's what
Yep.
people don't,
I
that's
can.
what I realized I was
I
abusive physically in a relationship before. I was the abuser, okay? I was the abuser.
listen.
And guess what?
Listen.
Guess what? When I was the abuser, it's because I was dealing with my own stuff. And he had to deal with me. Why you put your hands on me? I don't even hit women. But then if he would have been hitting me back or something like that, then he would have been trash. And it would have been because he was a man. And so I had to deal with myself in that regard and be like, what if you bringing raggedy to the table and you expected somebody to deal with you, and then later on y'all saying men ain't shit. And sometimes it's us, not even only as women. This could be for the man or for the women. That person is dating your inner child too, and your inner child, like I told y'all, mine is crazy.
Listen. It's it. Since we all being transparent, I will flat out tell you I am difficult to deal with. I know that. I came into specifically my marriage and my relationship with my husband honestly, I know this gets overused, but I had daddy issues, a lot of them that I needed to work through. I wanted my husband to fill a void that only my father could fill, and it was no longer able to be filled because I was grown. So there is no your partner can fill this void that one of your parents jacked up. They can't do that. And if you expect that, you're gonna kill that relationship expecting that out of them. And Amber, listen, when you start talking, I feel you because what you say you won't deal with, when you love a person, your ass will deal with some shit you never thought you would. We have been in situations, me and Elijah, where I thought I was walking out, where I was like, this ain't gonna work. We need to separate. It's done. I have had things happen where I was like, I'm not forgiving you for this. I'm done. I love that man though. You gonna work it out. You're either you're going to work it out or you're gonna get pushed to a limit where it's like, I'm done trying to work it out. And that's it. But you have to be able to look at yourself and say, what did I bring to this though? How did I cause this? What's my part? And I tell people that because they, in couples counseling, especially when they come in with infidelity, it's always only the person who stepped out fault. I have to explain to them something led to this. Something led to this. Yes, they're dead wrong for whatever they did because that's them stepping out. But it was other stuff that led up to this point, and you have to be willing to self-reflect and say, "Yeah, I did some shit that led up to this."
Thank God y'all in marriages, because I be looking at men like, please, I'm not fixing shit. And I don't believe in, now, granted, that's why I don't do couples, because I can't, I know that infidelity for me is just not, that's just not what I want to deal with. I can't love somebody through it. I'm gonna be single for that. I'll just stay single. And if I can't control, and that doesn't even mean my partner, it means for me too. If I can't stay loyal and faithful to my partner, then I don't need to be in a marriage. Now I understand things happen and they come up in a marriage that may be unexpected, but I don't know if I could, I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't be able to survive. I don't know. I don't know if I'd be able to survive, y'all. Y'all some strong women because I ain't got it, y'all. I'm weak as a feather.
But just because you're not
She,
married doesn't mean that you're not dealing with other people's stuff in a relationship. Any
You're
relationship
absolutely
that
right.
you enter into, they're bringing their own stuff in there. You didn't have to get in a
You're
yep,
marriage to be
absolutely right.
dealing with other people's stuff.
That's why that's
yep,
why I ain't in no relationship. I got out of the relationship I was in. I'm good to go for right now. So you're right. But I feel like there's an opportunity to learn about myself while I'm single as well and what I do want moving forward. And it's just marriage is just I know that some people want me to be married.
Abraham
I
wanted her to
just
be married, y'all. She talking about my husband. I'm sorry.
I just don't know. No, not no, not just him. Like
I
even in the
know.
past, like
No, but he
people
strongly wants you to be married.
just don't like when I say I'm not married or have kids, like people are like, okay, well he's coming or he's I'm like, I didn't ask for him.
I didn't want them.
I don't like it's just an automatic thing people put on me. And so for me, I just don't know if I'm that. Like I don't know. Like I can't do the things that requires for a wife. Like I cannot get up every day, cook for somebody. I can't clean up after somebody. I just can't do it.
That ain't required though. That's the thing.
That's not required.
That's what's also killing relationships. Is
It's a
those gender
cognitive
roles or
distortion.
gender norm. Yeah, like
Expectations. Your expectations aren't everybody else's, and
you
True.
don't
everybody's
have
aren't
to
yours.
get
I
up and
just feel
cook
like I
every
can't meet
day.
them. I just feel like I can't
You
meet
can't.
that. Like, and I
And
feel
you
like
don't
I
have
wouldn't.
to.
I
You
don't have
would be
to.
your own kind of, if you decided to get married. I'm not saying you are, but you would be your own kind of partner. Like
Yeah.
that's the problem is that we're all trying to fit ourselves into these boxes to fit and be a husband and fit and be a wife when there is no fucking box. We just do we just do what works for us.
Right.
Like financially, emotionally, spiritually, whatever it is that works for us. And
Right.
if you get to the point where you're so codependent or enmeshed with your partner that you can't figure out what's right for you, that's where I think the term separation in a marriage came from, because y'all need some time apart to figure yourselves out to
Yep.
determine if you're going to be able to be together.
Yep.
So
And
it
you,
is
Yep.
knowing. Oh, go ahead.
no, I was about to say we also, obviously we jump into relationships as early as teenagers. We encourage teens to be in relationships. They don't even know who they are. A lot of adults don't even know who they are. So you have to be a whole person and be learning yourself or be willing to grow and self-reflect before you get into this relationship with another person.
Absolutely.
That's an interesting concept, and I do agree. Teenagers, they searching for their identity, and it's grown people searching for their identity. But this concept of when to start, relationships or get into relationships. My daughter just said something recently, and it threw me off because she's only 15. She's 15. She's never been in a serious relationship at all, had like boyfriend like that. But she said my friends in school, mind you, she's a sophomore. She's friends with juniors and seniors too. She was like, all of them are in relationships. She was like, and I just feel like, am I going to be behind the curve? Like, what if I get to college? I've never been in a relationship. I don't know how to be in one. I don't know what to do. I've never had an experience with it. So what if, and I had a grown client say that same thing. She's 27 and she just said, I feel like I'm behind the curve in dating because I focus so much on my school, college, career that just now at this age, I have time to date, but I don't know what I'm behind. I don't even know how to date. I'm behind the curve. So there's that concept of, is this something that you can learn, that you can only learn by experience, or is it something that can be like, can it be taught? Can dating, can relationships, can it be taught? Or do you have to go through the experience to actually learn? Some things can only be taught through
I
experience.
think
Yeah,
both
but
can
Well, for
exist at the
certain,
same time.
social
yeah, but
learning
I
too.
will say I did the same thing. When I graduated high school, I told myself, I made like a pact with myself that I was not going to be in an actual relationship until I finished school because it takes a lot of work. I saw that with my parents, I saw that with my friends, and I didn't know who I was either as a person. So I mean, I commend her for that. Like, you focus on yourself first, you grow as a person first. Because remember, when you meet people young like that in high school, 17, 18 years old, you're growing with this person too. You don't even know if you're going to grow into a person that still likes them or that they still like. So I did make that a thing for myself, and I met my husband right before I graduated college, and at that point I semi knew who I was and had more of an idea of what I wanted out of life, and it was actually better that way for me, I think.
Mm.
So,
That's where I'm at. Like I really want to get to know myself and work on the things I need to in life before I think it's self to me. I think it's selfish for me to try to attach myself to somebody and I have not done the work or I haven't got to where I needed to be in life. And so I know that you can always be in a relationship at any point in time, but I personally feel the same way. Getting yourself in order, getting all my goals accomplished and what I want to do first, and then I can move forward with somebody. So I always never felt ready either. Like I always feel like I'm still getting ready. Like it's never like I'm ready, you know? So
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know if that's a feeling that happens. I don't know. It's just how I feel. Like I'm always getting ready. Maybe I'll be ready, maybe not.
Yeah, I think people go into dating before they know themselves, and you always learning yourself. I don't think you ever like you change over time, so you're always learning yourself.
Right.
But I think a lot of people, at least I know for me, and I've heard this from a lot of other people, both men and women. Oddly enough, people always think it's just women who say this, but a lot of people jump into relationships because they just want to be loved by somebody. That's it, and that's all. I want to feel that kind of love or that kind of passion or this or that. I want that, not recognizing that a lot more comes with a relationship than just that love. Like that's the part where people get it messed up. Yeah, that love is there, but then what about the problems, the conflict, the hard work that goes into it? So it's not just about love.
Yeah.
You're not even gonna always love that person or be in love with that person. You ain't gonna like that person all the time if you truly get into the thick of it with somebody.
Mhm.
So a part of me is like when young people start dating as teenagers, just like they figuring out themselves, they exploring all parts of themselves, which includes interpersonal relationships. But also get to know yourself at every stage of life because everything don't fit, and that's one of the things I think we can say that that's one of the things killing relationships. People don't know themselves
Mhm.
and haven't even tried to figure themselves out. They just think they do.
Yeah. Yeah. And you could change who you are depending on situations. Like you think you know yourself. And then something
Chameleon.
happened and you're like, "Oh, wait. This isn't what I thought. This isn't how I thought
Right.
I was going to react to this, especially when you're being put in that situation." And I had to learn that the hard way as well. Like Shug was saying, just because I'm not married doesn't mean I haven't been in relationships that have not taught me life lessons. And I realized that like compatibility is like number one for me. Like I cannot be in a relationship I'm not compatible if I'm not compatible with the person. Like I don't want that. Like just clear it off. Like I just can't do it. And so I think that, and I had to learn that from relationships in my past relationships. And I wasn't married to this person, but he taught me that. And so I will forever cherish that lesson on being with somebody who's compatible with me.
Well, can I tell y'all one other thing that's killing relationships? But don't judge me, y'all. Don't kill me.
What?
Kids.
Nope. I was
Them damn,
You ain't lied.
them damn kids.
You ain't
Will
lied.
fuck some
I was
shit up.
waiting on one of y'all to bring that up. I wasn't gonna say it because I ain't got no kids, but I was gonna let y'all say it.
You was hoping we would get
I was
there.
hoping y'all get there.
And I don't mean that in a bad way, but when
Right.
children are introduced into a situation, whether it's a
Mhm.
stable situation or an unstable situation, it completely changes the dynamic.
Yep.
Because you can no longer be that spontaneous, just whatever person you were before. You have to grow up fast, or you have to change in some way. And those changes on both parts, like, it makes it very difficult for you to continue to want to be with that person or love that person, because now you're a parent and I'm a parent and we're not doing the stuff that we used to do before. We're not acting the way we used to act before. What do I do with that? And so that's what I mean. It ain't the kids themselves, y'all, but it's just that new dynamic of being parents and being partners.
I think that's
That's
controversial.
rough.
Kids, that's not controversial.
Okay,
Kids
good.
alter, especially for a mother, kids alter your identity. We just talked about you got to know yourself. When you become a mama, I didn't know who the hell I was when I became a mother. I was like, I don't know this person. I don't know who this is. I completely lost myself. So, yeah, no, that's not controversial at all. Anybody who says that that's not true, I don't know. You're lying to
Kids
yourself.
are haters.
Just be real with yourself.
They're haters.
Hmm?
Kids are haters. Like, I literally could be like loving up on my husband and heck of my daughter. Like I'm trying to steal her man. Like it's crazy. Like, cause, and I don't know if it weirds them out sometimes that we are the way that we are, but they're like, all right, stop. And I'm like, bro, this moment was needed. And then here you came.
And here you go. Yep.
So they literally,
Yeah.
they, I'm saying that as a serious joke, but they literally do change the intimacy levels.
Mm-hmm. They do. They alter
Enough.
it.
I don't think that's talked about enough as
Mm-mm.
to how children can change the dynamic of a marriage. There's actually people online. That's where I first seen it. People online were talking about it. They were like, our relationship changed after we had a kid, and it's
Yeah.
stretching our marriage. Or I ain't gonna lie to you, there may be some people who headed toward divorce because they wasn't prepared for the drastic changes that came with having children. Now, don't get me wrong, there are obviously plenty of couples who get through it, plenty of married couples, but I'll tell you right now, there are a lot of people who are being honest and transparent about how their marriages almost led to divorce because of that significant change.
Yep.
Especially
And
if
not
you're a
even just
parent.
even opposite parenting styles. If you don't realize you got an opposite parenting style in your partner until you become parents. So until you become parents, you don't see things. You have to actually be in that. So now you got kids and you noticing, oh, we real different. Oh, you had this. Oh, you like it's hard. It can absolutely. This is why they talk about the highest divorce. Well, some of the highest divorce rates are after your kids graduate high school and go off to college, because now they're gone and now it's just y'all, and now you don't know this person that you met before 18 years ago when that kid came into the picture, and it's like, I don't even like you no more. Like,
I
bye.
had an
I'd be
old client
damned if
like
you
that.
gonna ruin my relationship, and then when you graduate and leave and go find the love of your life, I lose mine. Oh, it's gonna be some happiness all up
I
in
had a
plenty.
client like that.
It
Way in
happens.
the past, I had a client like that. She said her whole
Yeah.
life was raising her kids, and then after them kids left, she looked around like, "Well, who is this man?" She didn't know who her husband was anymore, and she was like, "We divorced because my whole
I
life
don't
was
know
into
you.
my kids for 20 years."
Yeah.
She
But
was like,
that's
and
why
so we just
yeah,
lost who we are.
that's why I
Yeah, that's why
believe
kids are.
in putting your spouse first. Because if you guys are on the same page, then your kids are gonna fall in line. But if think about it, your kids are gonna grow older, they're gonna be like, Mom, leave me alone. I'm with Rodney now. And all of a sudden Rodney is their world. And you out here looking crazy at the daddy because you like, well, I put my whole life into you. They like, but I'm not about to do that for you. Because think about you as an
Mm-hmm.
adult. I'm not about to put my whole life into my mother. I'm putting my whole life into other things. That's the same way that they're gonna
Yep.
grow up and think. I got that from an elder. See, some elders be hitting on something.
Yeah. Yeah. Real quick, because I know we probably getting close to wrap up time. Keish, you said something earlier about compatibility, and it made me think of the other relationship killer, chemistry. Chemistry is a relationship killer because you can have chemistry with anybody, but that don't mean you're supposed to be with that person.
Mm.
Chemistry will have you like, oh my God, my inner loins are burning for you. And you go with that and you think that that means it's supposed to be long term. No, y'all just have a physical chemistry. Y'all don't have nothing beyond that. Nothing beyond that. Everybody you got physical chemistry with or sleep with, and it could be good. That don't mean y'all supposed to be together for the long run. That is temporary, honey.
Now, I'll take it a step further. Some people be trauma bonding and think because they've been through the same trauma that this is the person meant for them. And I'll tell you right now, that's also a lie too.
A lie from the devil. It's a hell.
It's a liar.
Do not allow those initial feelings. And I know we talk about falling in love and butterflies in your stomach and all that. Don't allow them initial feelings to make you think this supposed to be a permanent situation when it was supposed to be temporary. It's not. It's not. Do what you got to do in that temporary moment and move the hell on because y'all not compatible anywhere else.
That's a whole hot sauce for another day.
It is.
It is. That should have been a hot sauce.
Absolutely.
That's good.
For
That's
another
good.
day. But no, so we gotta wrap up because we've been yapping. So we talk about relationships. I know we gotta wrap up. Just because you got chemistry with somebody don't mean that you're necessarily compatible. You might be compatible in the bed, but that don't mean you're compatible in your head. So if it don't fit, stop forcing it. When it don't fit, don't force. So we talked about all that.
Wait a minute. Run that back. Run that back. One more time. Run that back. Just real fast. Real quick.
All right.
Suge the rapper.
Dylan. Just because you're compatible in the bed don't mean you're compatible in your head. Stop. If it don't fit, don't force. Eat a horse. Of course.
Nope. See, you always take it a step too far. A hot 16.
Yes, that was a hot 3 bars. I ate my plate.
And yeah.
4 plus 4. She ate.
On the clinical cookout. So, I was rapping. What y'all about to do?